All right. Hello, everyone. This is Mimbai again, back with another awesome woman that I'm going to be talking to. Now, this one is different because Chandi Rae is my friend, and we have known each other for the last, no, almost 4 years, because we met in 2017.
Yes.
And how it all came together is she was coming to Toronto. When I tell you this is a woman of faith, and she leaps into what God has for her. She arranged to have a workshop in Toronto, Canada. And at that time, you'd never been to Toronto at that time, had you?
Yeah, I had years ago, but not for that.
Not for that. So she reached out to a mutual friend that we have now, Mathisa Gregg. And she said, listen, I'm coming to Toronto, get some women together. I need a space to do this workshop of mine called Vanish Board. And I remember Mathisa calling me and telling me, oh, I've met this woman online. Her name is Chandi Rae, and she lives in Ohio. And she wants to come do this conference. Let's do this workshop. So come on board, let's do this. So I was like, okay, hey. And the more she told me about you and just how the two of you were connecting, I came on board. And that was a life-changing moment for me when I came to your Vanish Board workshop. And it was very nice and intimate, and we just connected.
Yeah.
And from that point, it just led to greater things for both of us. I mean, we collaborated on going to Kenya to do a conference there called the Shiro Empowerment Conference, and we did that in 2019. And you have since, at that time, I remember at the workshop, you said, I am going to have my first women's conference. I'm turning 40. It's a big year for me. And on my birthday, I'm having this women's conference in Dayton, Ohio. And we were on board. We are going to this. And you've had conferences since then. And this is the third annual, fourth. The fourth annual Tell Your Story conference coming up. You're doing retreats. You are doing your Vanish Board workshop. You're all over the country, all over the world, actually. So I'm excited to talk to you. Chandi Rae, thank you for joining me. How are you?
Thank you, Vimbai. I'm so happy to be here with you. How am I? I'm doing good. I can honestly say I am doing good. I'm in a good space in my life.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. Now, okay, so for you, those of you who are watching, you can see that we're twinning today. We both have the long story short, I made it. This is from the very first Tell Your Story conference that was in February 2018. And my shirt is very worn because I love to wear it. And just goes to show you, just how impactful Chandi Rae is. And I am excited for her to tell you about an upcoming conference that she has. And then we're going to talk about some other projects that she's working on. So tell us, Chandi, what do you have planned for, November 13th?
Yes. Okay. So let me just be transparent real quick. I don't know all the details for November the 13th because the way God will have it is that he just gave me this just almost a month ago. So I have literally put together a conference in I have been doing, some speaking at a friend of mine's conference, a lot of healing work, suicide prevention type of work. And after doing her conference, it was called Be Against Bullying with Erica Guest. After I did her conference, God was speaking to me that I thought he was saying it's time for me to do a Vanish Board again in Ohio. So I was thinking, okay, Vanish Board, that's intimate. That's not a big deal. I can do that and knock it out, no problem. And then I started talking to my friend, Teresa, who owns the Sugar Loft in where we're having the event in West Chester, Ohio. She was telling me, oh, you need to have vendors and this. And I'm like, that's not what Vanish Board is. We don't do all that. It's intimate. And then it dawned on me, the Lord was speaking to me, you need to do your conference. And I'm thinking, oh no, I don't need to do this conference because I don't have but a month to do this. And the date was November 13th. And I'm thinking, I usually don't do my conference that soon. I give myself at least 6 to 7 months to advertise and market, because I'm not a big name. People don't know me. So I'm like, I got to take my time to get these people in here. And he was so adamant, and he sent other people to confirm, no, this is what you're doing. And I was so scared and nervous, because I'm like, Lord, why do you always put me in these positions where I got to do stuff suddenly in a nick of time? And then he swoops in and makes everything right. And he just spoke to me and said, because this is what the people need right now. People need healing suddenly. People are hurting right now suddenly. People are leaving this earth suddenly without warning. People aren't prepared for these people to leave here. People are transitioning into new careers, losing their jobs, going through different mental changes because of this pandemic. And so he just told me things are happening suddenly, and I am needing you to get in position, and I'm going to make the provision for you. So that's how this conference.
Wow. Wow. So what was that moment like for you when you're like, I hear God, you're telling me that I got to move, and yet I don't see how this is all going to come together? Like in that moment of surrender, when you're like, okay, God, okay, I'm going to do it, but I don't have a plan yet. Like I have to do so much in so short of a time. So how was that moment for you?
So the moment seemed very long, but it couldn't have been, because it was just almost a month ago. But it was for a brief moment. I was actually angry, because I'm like, listen, I done did my work for this year. It's time for me to relax and settle down. And so I had a moment of just like anger, asking God literally, like, have you lost your mind? And I'm thinking, well, he may not even have a mind, but literally asking questions like, why would you do this? And so I had a little anger, but then I talked to my daughter, and she said to me some very, real stuff. And the one thing she said to me, she said, well, Mom, even when you advertise for 6-7 months, people don't never buy no tickets until, the last month and a few days before the conference. So what you nervous about? You have the content. This is year 4. What you nervous about? And I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And so right when she said that to me, and talking to my other friends, giving me, affirming words about things that I've already done, speaking to you, just committing to pray with me, things started coming together like suddenly. The speakers, everything, the caterer, everything just started coming together like within, it was a day, a turnaround of a day that everything came together, my flyers, everything. And so now, day by day, things are happening. People are buying tickets. People are becoming vendors and sponsors. And so, yeah, I'm just like, okay, God, but he's still downloading steps. And for whatever reason, I don't know right now why he's just giving it to me in bits and pieces, but I'm sure he'll let me know.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting that you say that, because your conferences are usually February, March, that time of year. So it really is winding down the year, and all of a sudden you get this word that it's now. Now is the time. I don't want this conference for February or March. This is for November.
Yeah, because this is a season where he is all about uprooting your routine. He is snatching people up out of their routines, especially those who say that they really want to surrender and work and do what they're called to do in their purpose. He's snatching everybody up out of their normal day-to-day routines. And he's saying, okay, I'm going to test you. If you're really going to, surrender to me, and you want to operate in your purpose, let me see what you do with me switching your life suddenly. Do you still feel the same? Do you still trust me? Is your faith still there? Or are you only comfortable when you got a length of time to have control over what happens? Or are you going to relinquish full control to me? And so that's my life every day. I said it the other day, my whole life is a faith walk. I just literally, like I said before, I wake up in the morning just like the birds, and I'll be like, okay, what I'm eating today? What are you feeding me?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that faith walk. And I've had the pleasure of being alongside you for part of that journey. Yeah, I am telling you, we did something crazy in 2019. We we set out for Nairobi, Kenya. Mhm. Tickets bought. We we were having this conference. We planned it. I mean, we planned it for like a year plus. Actually, we were planning it, but then towards the end, things didn't kind of line up the way we had hoped. And so we were kind of scrambling. And I remember at one point, I think it was because the conference was in June, and I think it was like March or so. I said, Chandi, I don't know if you can do this. And Chandi was like, we've come this far. We are going. We are going. And sure enough, we got on planes. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah. But we arrived and we saw how God showed up for us in a spectacular way. I mean, he blew our minds. Like, we had a full room. And everyone who was at that conference,
Yeah.
to this day, continues to compliment us and say, you did an awesome job. That conference came together beautifully. And so I have no doubt that what you're doing right now, a couple of days time, well, probably about a week and a half, God's going to do the same thing. And all of these pieces are coming together as we speak. And he's going to present it to you, and that your conference is going to be a blessing. That is one thing I do know.
Thank you. You would think after a person jumped on a flight to Kenya with only one ticket sold and didn't tell nobody, you would think after we experienced having 120 people, we went from 1 to 120 people at our conference. You would think I would need no more convincing of how quickly God can move, because he did that in less than 3 hours. We needed people to be there.
Yeah. Do you remember that morning, that Friday morning? Like, we didn't even know, like, we're waiting for the list of people to come, and we're like, we don't even know, are people coming? We have our one ticket, but that's who we know, but who's coming?
Yeah.
We paid for the caterer, we've paid for all kinds of things, and then people showed up so early. When we got there, the room was full. Yeah.
Still in awe today. I get chills thinking about it. So with all of that happening, on a different continent, when nobody knows our names, why would I be so fearful and so nervous about him telling me to do something in a place where I'm a native and my family and friends reside? I don't know, but I'm just thinking back at the time, just to build my confidence and courage, and really more than anything, it's a mandate. I know that I have to do this. I'm not doing it for the sake of saying, oh, I have conferences. I've had 4 conferences, and yeah, I travel all over the world. My thing is, if nobody's impacted, if nobody's life is being changed, it really doesn't matter. So if God is telling me to do something, I literally can't sleep. I can't rest until I follow through. So I'm just being obedient, even in my flesh, even when in my flesh, I don't desire to do this and be up in front. I like to be comfortable hiding. But because I really want to honor him with all my heart and do what he says to do, listen, I'm like a little toddler, kicking and screaming. Then I go and do what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're no stranger to the weight she carries. We did a story on you a few years ago, and we talked about your journey as a young woman and how you were sexually assaulted twice. And your daughter actually was born out of one of those rapes. And for you to be able to find it in your heart to forgive the perpetrator and raise your daughter and just do such a tremendous job, because Chandi and I, for you who are watching, Chandi and I are friends, and we've often had long night conversations just about life and about things. We've prayed together, we've cried together, it's amazing how our lives have been very connected and parallel in many ways. And so just being able to see that the woman that you are behind the scenes, and just seeing how even in the face of all kinds of challenges, you're still able to show up and do the assignment God has placed on your life, and just that transformation that you've had from that teenage girl who was trying to figure things out and trying to put all the pieces together and come to being the woman you are today. Like, it's remarkable to see. It's remarkable to see. As I mentioned, we are celebrating growth this month on The Weight She Carries. Can you talk about some of the ways that you have seen growth in your own life?
It's a lot of ways, but I'm gonna share one that is very important to me. So one of the ways that I recognized growth in myself was in the way of choosing me first. And people say that often, but I really chose myself because I noticed a relationship that I was in with a friend. I noticed that it was going in a toxic place, a place where I was getting ready to start giving of myself out of guilt, giving of myself out of fear of them thinking that I wasn't a good person, and knowing that I didn't have the capacity to give this person what they needed. They needed something, but they couldn't get it from me, and I didn't have it to give. And so I'm proud of myself because I made a decision to choose me. And in doing so, I chose not to feel guilty, because oftentimes when we have friends that are going through something, we try to be there for their every waking moment. We try to carry their burdens, whatever weight they have, we try to carry it for them or alongside of them. And what I recognized about myself in that moment was I wasn't strong enough to carry her weight and mine. And so she had to go off and figure that out. And that I was not going to take any blame, or I wasn't going to be accused of not being a good friend to her because I chose me. And what I understood was that I had to create some boundaries when it came to knowing where I needed to be in my healing journey, and where I needed to be was present for myself. And so recognizing that something was getting ready to turn toxic within that friendship, them needing me more than I could provide help for them, I'm proud of myself for stepping away from that and choosing me. And within doing that, not having to have the whole dialogue of all the explanation. I said what I needed to say and I stepped away from it, because sometimes when a person is in a certain state emotionally and they're not emotionally mature to understand it, it doesn't matter what you say. You can talk and talk and talk and they're never going to receive it. So what I understood at that moment is that I understood where I was at emotionally, and I took a step back and I just said, I wish her well. I love her. And if God is to bring that relationship back again, he'd have to bring it back when we're both in a place of healing where we can have a fruitful relationship. Other than that, I choose me.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that. That's very well said. And I think sometimes it's in those moments where we're trying to advocate for other people more than we're willing to advocate for ourselves. And there are times when really we end up suffering. So kudos to you for realizing that you've got to be your best advocate. Mm-hmm. And looking out for yourself is something that can never, when you're looking at the totality of a situation, sometimes you got to choose you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Just, you're not everybody's savior. You know what I mean?
Even
people kind of boost you up and tell you, oh, you always help me. You're just the person that I need. I love you. You always help. You're just this, you're that. And sometimes you be like, I see what you see, but I know my level of strength is not there. And I'm not getting ready to I'm not going to be your savior.
Yeah. So going back to your upcoming conference, so what can attendees expect to receive?
Oh my. So as I said, some things are still downloading, but one thing that I'm very excited about is that they're going to be able to be in an atmosphere with people who are very transparent about going from pain to purpose and elevating and really giving instruction, and not just inspiration and empowerment, but they can look forward to getting instruction on how to navigate in their life and how to get to that next level with actual steps. Some of the topics we're going to be talking about are heavy. You know, people going to be in the room, they may feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's for people who are ready for change, real change, and taking off their mask. So how to navigate through a narcissistic relationship. It can be intimate relationship, and it can be a platonic relationship. Even narcissists themselves, you know, sometimes don't even realize that they are being narcissistic, or that they, you know, suffer from that. And so we're going to do some reenactments of what that looks like, because it is not enough just to talk about it. And this is, for a lot of people, this word is a new word that's trending, and people are just throwing it out there. But what they need to understand is actual instances. They need to be put in a circumstance that says, this is how the conversation starts. These are different forms and ways that you can experience narcissism, or narcissistic behaviors, and how you can navigate through them to get out of them, or to create certain boundaries so that you are not falling into the trap and blaming yourself and thinking that you're doing something wrong. So we're going to talk about that in depth. We're going to talk about what it's like to leave basically corporate America, being an employee, from employee to entrepreneur, running an entire empire, and what that looks like, even from an emotional wellness standpoint, because you have to go through a number of things emotionally, professionally, and personally when it comes to dealing with colleagues and when it comes to dealing with your own family. And so the transition between employee to entrepreneur, building your empire, is crazy. And we have couples who are going to speak on that topic in a real live situation, because they're still transitioning, you know, and sharing some really transparent things. We're also going to talk about what is it, you know, what do I do when I no longer recognize myself after the transition of retirement? You know, this is a conference that are for people who are anywhere between the ages of, I would say, 25 and up, 25 and up, 75, 80 years old. We all can get something from this. But I have a lot of mature people, 18 years old, that want to be there. So they will be. But, you know, there's a lot. I'm going to talk about some steps that you can take to start to live and thrive in your life after a divorce, just from the perspective of yourself, not intertwining your ex-partner or anything, just focusing on yourself and not being a victim to your own ideals of failure when it comes to divorce and other people's idea of what you are. Just going within. So we're gonna share a lot. It's gonna be heavy, and it's gonna be good, and it's going to be something that people can walk away knowing that transformation took place right there on the scene.
Yeah. And the thing about you, Chandi, is that you are so open and you're so transparent about your life. You're so transparent about mistakes that you've made and where you've grown. And anybody coming to your conference or just connecting with you, however way you present, because I feel like there's so many different facets. You have the Vanish Board, you have the retreats, you have the conferences. So you have various ways in which you get the message out to people. And whichever way people are able to connect with you, they're always going to get the transparency and just the realness that I think a lot of people are missing in this day and time, because you take off the mask.
Yeah.
I remember that from our very first conference. You're like, masks are coming off. And that's something that's drawn me to you. And so I know that anybody who's going to be in that room in your conference is going to be blessed, because they're going to be able to really tap into what it is that God has given to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And you know, a lot of times people mention, "Oh, you so transparent." You so transparent. And it's funny to me because I just want to reiterate, it's not even about being transparent. It's about, I don't know nothing different. I don't know how to lie.
That's a good problem.
Gift. So maybe if I knew how to tell a lie, to it, not forget that all these pieces go together afterwards, maybe I would be a liar. But because I just ain't good at it, I tried it a few times. I'm not.
It didn't work out.
It's written on my face whenever I feel whatever I feel. So I just said, I just might as well just be who I am, because I don't have the gift of pretend. I just don't.
Yeah. Well, you are involved in a lot of different projects. Like we talked about a little bit. You had a retreat recently in Switzerland.
Yes.
How did that go?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I don't even know how to put words to it, because in certain parts of the day, I'm still in Switzerland.
Yeah.
It was something that I wanted. I visualized it. I grew up in Europe, and so it has a special place in my heart. When I go back to, European countries, it brings up, some of the best times in my life, being a young teenager, and I wanted to relive that as an adult. So I frequent that part of the country because of it, because it brings up something in me, just remembering my childhood when it was in such a great place. And so I wanted other people to have that experience that have never traveled abroad and have never known what it's like to experience different cultures. I want them to see what it was like. And the women that went were blown away. They enjoyed every bit of it. We also got to go over into France because it was so close. We were in Geneva. So just that experience, oh man, to visualize it and plan it out, and then to be able to see it come to fruition and be there, and it be better than what you even planned in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God for the experience. And I thank God for the women who trust me to jump on this plane in the pandemic and go clear across, the world, just for some healing outside of their norm. Like I said, God snatching people up out of their routine.
Yeah.
They were ready. So yeah, it was amazing.
Good. Now, I often, when I was thinking about interviewing, and I was trying to figure out how to introduce you, because like I said, you do a lot of different things. Because the earrings you're wearing, you made them. So your creativity kind of flows in a lot of different areas. And I know that you're going to be launching your CBD products coming up soon. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So I developed my own CBD product line called my CBD Boutique, and I've been a managing cosmetologist for over 20 years. And so with me having a beauty salon and throughout the years getting educated and certified in different things, I took on a love for wellness. And I wanted to provide something where women could ditch all of the, what do you call those, synthetics, the things that cause more problems, and introduce a more natural pathic way of healing. And so not only do I do the healing from, the outside and, growing the hair back and styling the hair, I do inner healing as well. And so a part of that connection was needing a product that did that. And so I came up with the my CBD Boutique, because I started using CBD myself after going through my divorce. It was very intricate part of my healing process, with me not going to pop no pills and talk to no therapist and taking. Now I believe in talking to therapists, but I was not interested in having the synthetics for me because I come from an addictive background in my family. So I didn't want to have something that would make me addicted. And when I learned about CBD not being an addictive source to take that helped me with anxiety and depression and sadness, I jumped on it. And when I noticed that I was not experiencing sadness hardly ever, not laying around in the bed, feeling energetic, hormones were balanced, no night sweats going through because I'll be 44. And so once I seen the effects of my body, I wanted to offer this for other people. And because I'm an entrepreneur, it just only made sense to cut out the middleman and create my own brand. So that's the reason why I got into that, as well as other products that I have. A product line I have called You Got This, where I have it's skin healing and hair growth serum, which is my biggest seller. I use that for my skin. It's essential oils infused with rosemary. I use it for the scalp to grow back your hair if you suffer from alopecia and different type of hair loss. And I have spiritual bath teas. And so all of these things were things that I used during my healing process. Like I said, going through a divorce, I had to really go within and really create a schedule, if you will, of tending to myself. And so one of the things I would do is I would wear lip gloss and tell myself, you got this. Being a hairstylist, it was very important that I look good, even though I felt bad. So I would keep my hair done and doing what I need to do with my hair products. And I would take baths. The biggest thing for me was taking spiritual baths, is what I called it, because I would purposely take the bath to ask God, help me, heal me. I'm hurting and I need to sit here and I need to hear something from you. I don't know how to navigate this thing. And so that's why I created the spiritual bath teas to help women. And I've had some men purchase it too, to be more aware of how you're feeling throughout the day and be more intentional about taking a bath and asking God to speak to you, or just sitting quietly with yourself. So those are the products that I have.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And I like that, because you're essentially making available to other women and men what you have found to be helpful for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the best scenarios, because it's tried and true. You've done it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it worked for you, then you can just be that much more confident in your products and knowing that it's going to impact others in a similar way too.
Yes. And I know I didn't answer your question fully, but during the conference, I will be announcing something dealing with one of the products that I've shared with you. So I have a huge announcement that I'll be making at the conference that I'm very excited about, that will create opportunities for not just me to come up, but for other families to be able to come up as well. So I can't wait to share that.
Wow. I'm sad I'm missing it.
Yeah. Like, why couldn't it have been 2 months earlier? Because
Yeah, and that's all right, because I know that God gave you this specifically for that particular date. And it's a special date to me because I told you that's my mother's birthday. So so I know that whoever is in the room is going to be blessed by what you're giving to them. And so I'm definitely going to be praying. I'm going to continue to pray for God to really just show you what all He has for you to do on this assignment, and for the people out there who are going to be receiving this, that they all come together. I was talking to Shalina not so long ago, and we're kind of reminiscing a little bit about how she came to your conference as well, and how she was so desperate to get to that conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there are other people out there who are going to be as desperate to get to this conference. So I can't wait to hear about it.
I'm excited for everyone. I'm there to receive myself, because the lineup of speakers that I had, they're powerhouses, not from the perspective of being celebrities. That's not where we're coming from. I'm talking about powerhouses in the matter of being able to be vessels for God, and they change lives every day. It create opportunities for people to walk in their truth and to really grasp something from them, because they are really, really operating in their purpose, their gifts and their purpose. So I'm excited for them to just connect. I'm excited for all the connections that we'll have, that will happen at this event, because even though God gave me the vision for this, the people that he brings into it is supposed to go so much further than just my conference. So many things have happened with people connecting and starting other things and doing other things just because of the divine connection.
Yeah, yeah. Where can people get tickets?
So you can go to Eventbrite to get tickets. Eventbrite, the conference is called Your Story, From Pain to Purpose. I'm not sure if you're able to link it, but I'm going to have the link.
Yeah, I definitely can put the link. Let's see here. When I go back and edit this video, I'm going to make sure I put in the link there, just caption it so that people can see it visually and then be able to go and get their tickets.
Yes.
People need to get their tickets now because they're going fast.
Yeah.
We know they're going fast. And so don't sleep on it, because you may try to get your ticket last minute and won't be able to get your ticket. So do so now. Now, is it a 2-day event or is it a 1 day?
1 day. It's just,
1 day.
Yes. So I said, see the you can click on the link, but if you're a person who knows how to search Eventbrite, go to Eventbrite, look up Tell Your Story, From Pain to Purpose for Chandi Rae. It's under Chandi Rae. So, and I look forward to seeing everyone there. And I've been praying from day one, whatever you come for, that you get that and more.
Yeah. 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 Well, you've heard it, people. Go out and you're going to see the link down here. So click on the link. Make sure you click on the link below this video. Go to the tickets, get yourself a ticket. And if you're not able to attend, sponsor someone.
Yes.
Sponsor someone, because there's someone out there who, for whatever reason, may not be able to get their finances together in order to make it to the conference. And if you're not able to do it for yourself, do it for someone else and let them get to the conference so they can get the healing that they need.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And vendors too, So vendors, attendees, this is just, this is a place where you want to be.
Yes. And even business, you can do the swag bag promotion, put your flyer, your samples in the swag bag, and get your stuff out there. And donations are welcome as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Chandi. Before I let you go, I've had this one last question that I often like to ask people. What are you most proud of?
Oh, I think I'm most proud of not giving up. When I feel like I have all rights to give up, having so many things compiled on top of me from every area, I think I got enough good excuses, really great excuses to give up. But I think I'm most proud of myself for not giving up and not remaining a victim. So that's it for me.
Yeah. You've made some very bold moves for the time that I've known you. Not just the conference that we're talking about, but uprooting yourself and moving all the way to Dallas, Texas. That was in 2019, right?
No, that happened in 2020.
In the middle of a pandemic, Chandi is moving all of her stuff to Dallas because you were being obedient.
Yeah.
Well, sis, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of everything that you stand for. It's always a pleasure to connect to you, and you're always welcome here on The Weight She Carries. And I'm just I can't wait for people to experience you on November the 13th, because I know we got to talk about you doing virtual conferences, because, I am not going to be missing out on conferences because I'm away.
This one is virtual. There are virtual options available for this conference.
What?
Not to mention it.
Yes. Daddy, you didn't tell me that. What?
Just did it the other day. Yes, virtual conference for this one, the very first one, the very first time I've ever done virtual.
So are those options available on the link on the Eventbrite?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. So this turned into a whole different thing here now. Okay, doesn't matter where you are, you need to be at this conference. Now it starts at what time does it start?
It starts at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. on the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 a.m. on the 3rd. Will daylight savings time have kicked in by then?
You're asking the wrong person.
It may have kicked in. So if it's 10 o'clock Eastern time, that means Central African time, Central Africa time is 6 hours, sometimes 7 hours. So that's, what is that? 10. So that's 4 or 5 o'clock p.m.
Okay.
If you are in Central Africa, if you're Eastern Africa, then that is 10 o'clock is, goodness. That would be 10 plus 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock if the time has changed. So you can attend this conference. Wherever you are based, that's no longer an excuse. You've got to get yourself to this conference. I'm glad you told me that, because now I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go check out those virtual options. Because that's something that I'm excited now. I'm excited because I was like, oh, I'm going to miss it. But now that we have options, that's good to know. So everybody, Chandi Rae, like, she's just the real deal. Like, what you see is what you get with her. She is a woman of God. God has blessed her tremendously with so much. And a lot of her journey, she's overcome many different things. And all of that shaped her into being the woman that she is today. And I kid you not when I tell you that you are going to receive on the 13th, you will receive. So whatever it is that God has for you, come get it on the 13th.
Please.
Oh, my dear. Well, thank you again for your time, and wishing you all the best. We'll connect soon. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to what God has for you. I know He has some amazing things in store for you, and I'm just looking forward to seeing that.
Thank you so much, friend.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, I love you, and you take care.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you soon. You're welcome. Bye-bye.